Have you ever felt like you've given someone your full trust and sincerity, only to feel let down in return? How many times have you silently wondered if the person you care about truly values you, or if they're just playing a role in your life? Sometimes those kind gestures and sweet words might not be as genuine as they seem. Deception in relationships doesn't just hurt, it shakes your ability to trust others and even yourself. Maybe you want to believe that the people in your life have good intentions. But over time, their small actions, insincere words, or half truths reveal something deeper. So, how do we avoid falling into a cycle of doubt? How do we protect our peace of mind when we sense someone might not be authentic? In today's video, I'll share 7 clear signs someone isn't being genuine with you and how to spot these behaviors early. By the end, you'll not only know how to recognize these signs, but also how to build the inner strength to keep negativity at bay. Before we jump in, here's a quick challenge for you. Watch this video all the way through and see how many of these signs you've encountered in your relationships. Let me know in the comments at the end. Now, let's dive right in. Sign 1. They're never there when you need them. Have you ever felt like you've given everything to a friendship, your trust, your time, your support, only to feel abandoned when you needed help the most? It's a harsh reality that not everyone who walks beside you truly values the journey. Those we consider friends sometimes reveal over time that their presence is conditional, tied not to genuine care but to convenience or personal gain. I remember a time when I believed I had a friend I could always count on. Whenever she faced challenges, I was there, offering my full support without hesitation. Whether it was late night conversations to soothe her worries or helping her move into a new apartment, I made sure she never felt alone. But when the tables turned and I found myself in need, the silence was deafening. I had been struggling at work, feeling overwhelmed and close to burnout. One evening, I decided to call her, hoping for a listening ear or even just a few comforting words. Instead, I was met with excuses. She claimed to be too busy and promised to call me back later. Hours turned into days, and that call never came. It was a painful realization that this friendship thrived only as long as I was the one giving. Another incident brought the truth into even sharper focus. During a period of financial strain, I reached out to this same friend, asking for a small loan. It wasn't a request I made lightly, and I knew she was in a position to help. Still, she found reasons to decline, her excuses growing increasingly unconvincing. It was then I understood that her promises of support were just words, lacking the substance of genuine friendship. People like this often have a repertoire of justifications for their absence. They'll tell you they're handling personal matters or that their schedules are packed, but these explanations are often thinly veiled excuses. Their behavior reveals a deeper truth. They value the friendship only when it's convenient for them. True friends don't need perfect circumstances to show up. They don't wait for their own lives to be flawless before offering a hand. They'll make time to listen, even when their plates are full. Stoicism teaches us an essential lesson here. Don't place your happiness or sense of worth in the hands of others. Know how to stand strong on your own and recognize when a relationship is not serving your emotional well-being. When you realize that a friend only comes around when they need something, don't let bitterness take root. Instead, view it as a lesson in setting boundaries and protecting your peace. True friendships are not transactional. They are built on mutual respect and unconditional care. Letting go of one-sided relationships doesn't make you cold or unkind. It's an act of self-respect and maturity. By distancing yourself from those who only take, you make room for connections rooted in authenticity. Choose carefully whom you let into your inner circle. Real friends will be there for you, even when there's nothing in it for them. Those are the relationships worth cherishing. Sign 2, they never reach out to you first. Have you ever felt like you're the only one putting effort into a relationship? You're always the one reaching out, sending messages, making plans, or checking in. Over time, this can leave you feeling unimportant, as if the relationship only exists because you're working hard to keep it alive. True connections require mutual effort. When someone consistently waits for you to initiate contact, it may be a sign that they don't value the relationship as much as you do. Their lack of effort can feel like a silent message. I'll stay in touch, but only if you do the work. This imbalance is not only exhausting, but also emotionally draining. I once had a friend who was kind and supportive when we were together, but she never reached out on her own. If I didn't send a text or call, we could go weeks or even months without speaking. I started to wonder if she cared about our friendship at all. When I brought it up, she said she was just not good at keeping in touch. But deep down, I knew that staying connected wasn't about being good at it. It was about making an effort. People often use busyness as an excuse, saying they don't have time to reach out. While life can be hectic, it doesn't take much to send a quick message or check in with someone. A simple, "How are you?" or "I was thinking about you" can show that the relationship matters. When someone never does this, it can feel like you're not a priority in their life. This kind of behavior can also reveal a deeper truth. Sometimes people don't reach out because they're not genuinely invested in the relationship. They may enjoy the benefits of your friendship, your support, your listening ear, or your presence, but they're not willing to put in the work to maintain it. Stoicism teaches us not to rely too heavily on others or let their actions dictate our emotions. You can't control whether someone reaches out to you, but you can choose how much energy you're willing to invest in a one-sided relationship. If you're always chasing after someone who doesn't reciprocate, it's worth asking yourself, is this relationship truly fulfilling, or are you holding on to something that's not real? Letting go of these expectations doesn't mean cutting people off. It means protecting your peace and focusing on relationships where there's mutual care and effort. True friends value you for who you are, not just for the effort you put into keeping the connection alive. When you stop chasing after people who don't value you, you create space for deeper and more meaningful connections. Friendship should never feel like a burden. It's a partnership where both people share the responsibility of staying connected. Pay attention to the effort others put into your relationship. And don't be afraid to let go of those who never reach out. Sign 3. They only focus on themselves. Have you ever been in a conversation where it feels like you're just an audience member? The other person dominates the discussion, talking only about their life, their problems, and their achievements, while you barely get a chance to speak. You might try to share something personal, but they quickly shift the focus back to themselves. If this sounds familiar, it could be a sign that the person you're dealing with isn't genuinely interested in you or your feelings. Self-centered individuals tend to see every conversation as an opportunity to talk about themselves. They may ask you questions, but only to steer the conversation back to their own lives. When you attempt to share something about yourself, they often dismiss it or quickly change the subject. This behavior isn't just rude, it reflects a lack of sincerity and genuine care. I once had a friend who always made our conversations about them. No matter what I tried to talk about, my job, my hobbies, or even something personal I was dealing with, they would quickly redirect the focus back to their own stories. At first, I thought maybe they were just going through a rough time and needed someone to listen. But as time went on, I realized that no matter what I shared, they seemed uninterested. I would open up only to find that my words were dismissed or ignored. This type of behavior can leave you feeling unimportant. It's as though your thoughts, struggles, and experiences don't matter to them. They don't listen to you. They just wait for their turn to speak. This isn't a sign of a healthy friendship or relationship. It shows that the other person isn't looking for mutual connection. They only care about their own thoughts and feelings. When you're around someone like this, you start to notice patterns. They may talk about their successes, their drama, or their personal issues, but when it's your turn to speak, they don't offer support or show any real interest. They might brush off your experiences, even if they're meaningful or difficult for you. This lack of empathy can feel hurtful and frustrating. In these situations, it's important to remember that their behavior isn't a reflection of you, but rather a sign of their own immaturity or selfishness. They may not understand the value of listening, and they certainly don't understand how to truly support someone. A genuine friend, on the other hand, would take the time to listen to your concerns, offer support, and show interest in your life. They wouldn't just talk about their own problems. They would want to know how you're doing and what's going on in your world. They would make you feel heard, validated, and cared for. When you realize that someone only wants to talk about themselves, it's important not to respond with anger or resentment. Instead, try to distance yourself emotionally. This isn't about cutting them off entirely, but about protecting your own peace. You don't need to engage in one-sided conversations if they aren't fulfilling or respectful of your emotions. Stoicism teaches us that we can't control others, but we can control how we respond. Instead of getting frustrated with someone who only focuses on themselves, shift your focus to relationships where there's mutual respect and understanding. Surround yourself with people who listen, who care about your well-being, and who make an effort to connect with you. Remember, you have the power to choose the relationships you invest in. If someone only ever talks about themselves and shows no interest in you, don't feel obligated to give them your time. True connections are built on mutual care and respect, and those are the relationships worth nurturing. Sign 4. They forget what you share. Have you ever shared something important with someone, only to have them forget it shortly after? It might be a personal experience, a significant event, or something meaningful that you opened up about. If they constantly forget what you've told them, it could be a sign that they aren't truly paying attention or don't care enough to remember. When someone forgets what you share, it can feel like your words don't matter to them. It's as if they're not really present during your conversations, just passively listening without any real interest. This can be especially hurtful when you've shared something personal, hoping to find support or understanding. If they forget it or brush it off, it shows that they aren't valuing your emotions or experiences. In healthy relationships, people take the time to listen carefully and remember what matters to you. They will recall details you've shared, ask follow-up questions, and show that they care about your thoughts and feelings. But when someone constantly forgets what you've said, it may be a sign that they aren't invested in the relationship. I once had a friend who would often forget the things I shared with her. I'd tell her about my struggles at work or something exciting happening in my life. But the next time we talked, she acted like she had never heard it before. At first, I thought maybe she was just forgetful. But as it kept happening, I realized that she wasn't really paying attention to me. This pattern can be frustrating and disheartening. It makes you feel like your words are meaningless and that you're not being heard. It's not about remembering every little detail, but about showing care and interest in what's important to you. When someone consistently forgets important things you've shared, it's a clear sign that they're not genuinely invested in the relationship. Sometimes people may forget because they are too focused on themselves or their own issues. They may not have the emotional energy to remember what you say because they are preoccupied with their own thoughts. However, this doesn't excuse forgetfulness when it comes to things that matter to you. If they can't make the effort to remember, it shows a lack of respect for your emotions. When you notice this happening, it's important to evaluate how much emotional energy you should invest in that relationship. If someone is constantly forgetting what you share, it may be time to reassess the balance in the relationship. Are you the only one putting in the effort to remember and care for them? Are they showing the same attention to your needs and experiences? In the end, it's about mutual respect and understanding. If someone truly values you and your connection, they will remember the things that are important to you. They will show interest in your life and demonstrate that your words matter. Remember, you deserve to be heard and valued. If someone repeatedly forgets what you share, don't be afraid to step back and focus on relationships where your thoughts and feelings are treated with the respect they deserve. Sign 5. They always want something from you. Have you ever noticed that someone in your life only seems to reach out when they need something? Whether it's asking for a favor, borrowing money, or relying on you for emotional support, it can feel like you are always the one giving, and they are always the one taking. This one sided relationship is a clear sign that they may not be as genuine as they seem. In healthy relationships, both people give and receive. There is a sense of balance, where both individuals make an effort to support each other. But when someone only contacts you for their own benefit, it shows that they may not truly care about you. They care about what you can do for them. I once had a friend who would call me only when she needed something. It might be help with a project or asking for a ride somewhere. I would always say yes, and I'd feel good about helping her. But when I needed help, she was nowhere to be found. If I asked for a favor, she would come up with an excuse or avoid me altogether. It became clear to me that she was only interested in what I could provide for her, not in the friendship itself. People who always want something from you often take advantage of your kindness and generosity. They may not even recognize that they're using you. Their requests may seem harmless at first, but over time, they add up. You may feel drained, as if you're constantly giving without receiving anything in return. This kind of behavior doesn't just happen in friendships. It can appear in family relationships, work relationships, and even romantic ones. If someone always asks for your help, but never offers any support in return, it's a sign that they may not care about you as a person. Instead, they see you as a resource to fulfill their own needs. There are many ways people can ask for something from you. Sometimes they will ask directly, like asking for money or help moving. Other times, they may manipulate you into giving, making you feel guilty or responsible for their problems. They might say things like, "I really need your help. You're the only one who can do this for me," to pressure you into saying yes. When this happens, it's important to recognize the pattern and set boundaries. You don't have to say yes every time they ask for something. In fact, learning to say no is an important skill in protecting your emotional well-being. If someone only wants to take from you without offering anything in return, it's okay to distance yourself from that relationship. Remember, a true friend or loved one will not only ask for help, but will also offer support when you need it. They will genuinely care about your well-being, not just what you can provide for them. It's important to surround yourself with people who value you for who you are, not just what you can do for them. When you recognize that someone is constantly taking from you, step back and evaluate the relationship. Does it feel balanced? Are both people contributing equally? If not, it may be time to let go of the one-sided connection and focus on building relationships where mutual care and respect are present. Don't let anyone take advantage of your kindness. You deserve relationships based on genuine love and support, not just transactions. Sign 6. They talk behind your back. When someone talks behind your back, it's a clear sign that they're not being honest or genuine with you. Trust is the foundation of any strong relationship, and when someone speaks negatively about you when you're not around, it shows a lack of respect for that trust. This behavior can be extremely hurtful, especially if you've been open and vulnerable with that person. True relationships are based on open and honest communication. If someone has an issue with you, they should bring it up directly instead of gossiping behind your back. When they choose to talk behind your back, it indicates they aren't willing to have the difficult conversations with you, and they'd rather take the easier route by speaking to others instead. I once had a colleague who seemed friendly and supportive in person. We would chat and share small moments at work. However, one day, I overheard a conversation where she was spreading rumors about me and criticizing my actions. It was shocking to hear that someone I thought was a friend was saying negative things behind my back. This behavior made me realize that she didn't care about our connection and wasn't sincere. People who talk behind your back often do it to elevate themselves or to create drama. They may feel insecure or want to gain attention by tearing others down. In some cases, they might even be trying to manipulate others' perceptions of you. Regardless of the reason, it's a sign that their motives aren't pure. Gossiping isn't just harmful for your reputation, it can impact your peace of mind. When you hear about someone speaking ill of you, it can be difficult not to feel hurt or betrayed. However, it's important to remember that gossip is a reflection of the person spreading it, not of you. They are the ones showing a lack of character, not you. If you discover someone is talking behind your back, it's essential to address the issue directly with them. Don't let the situation fester. Ask them about what you've heard and give them the opportunity to explain. If they deny it or show no remorse for their actions, it's a clear sign that they don't value your relationship. From a Stoic perspective, you can't control what others say or do, but you can control how you respond. Don't let negativity affect your inner peace. Stay true to your values and focus on nurturing relationships where honesty and mutual respect are prioritized. Ultimately, people who talk behind your back aren't worth your energy. Their behavior reflects their own insecurities and lack of integrity. True friends will always talk to you directly if there's an issue, and they won't speak badly of you when you're not around. Protect your peace by distancing yourself from those who thrive on gossip and negativity. Focus your energy on relationships that are based on trust, respect, and genuine care. Sign 7. They act differently with different people. One of the most telling signs that someone isn't being genuine with you is when they act differently with different people. This behavior often reveals that the person is not being true to themselves, and it can be confusing and frustrating for those who are on the receiving end. If someone changes their personality or behavior depending on who they're with, it's a clear sign they're not being authentic. A person who is truly sincere will be consistent in their actions, regardless of who they're around. They won't pretend to be someone they're not, or adjust their behavior based on who's in the room. When someone switches their behavior depending on the audience, it can feel like they're hiding their true intentions or trying to manipulate how others perceive them. I once had a friend who would behave one way when we were alone and a completely different way when we were in a group setting. When it was just the two of us, she was warm, open, and kind. But as soon as other people were around, she would become distant, act aloof, or even speak negatively about me. This made me feel like I couldn't trust her. I wasn't sure who she really was or if she even valued our friendship. People who act differently in different settings often have an agenda. They might be trying to fit in with certain groups, gain approval, or manipulate how others perceive them. This kind of behavior shows a lack of authenticity and can lead to a lot of confusion and uncertainty in relationships. You might wonder which version of the person is the real one, and it can be difficult to feel secure in a relationship built on such instability. If you notice someone acting differently with different people, it's important to pay attention to the patterns. Do they treat you with respect when you're alone, but act like they don't care when others are around? Or do they talk poorly about you when they think it will help them fit in? These are red flags that indicate they're not being genuine with you. From a Stoic perspective, it's important to understand that you can't control how others behave, but you can control how you respond. If you notice someone is acting inauthentically, it's best to protect yourself from being dragged into their drama. Don't let their inconsistency affect your peace of mind. Instead, focus on relationships where people are honest and true to themselves at all times. True friends and genuine relationships are built on trust and authenticity. If someone acts differently with different people, it's a sign that they may not be fully invested in the relationship. They might be trying to please others or create a certain image for themselves, but this is not a solid foundation for a meaningful connection. Ultimately, when you notice this behavior, it's time to evaluate whether this person truly deserves a place in your life. You deserve relationships where people are consistent, authentic, and trustworthy. If someone can't be themselves around you, it's a sign that they may not be the kind of person you want to invest your time and energy in. Choose to surround yourself with people who are genuine and who treat you with respect, no matter who else is around. If you found this video helpful, please consider giving it a like and sharing it with those you care about. By doing so, you're helping others discover how to safeguard themselves from relationships that may not be as genuine as they seem. Make sure to subscribe to our channel so you can continue exploring the powerful teachings of Stoic philosophy and learn how to live a life filled with strength, clarity, and inner peace. If you've made it this far, that means you've completed the challenge we set at the start. Go ahead and drop a comment saying, "I've discovered a fake friend." I'd love to celebrate this important insight with you.